going to start the next chapter, solutions. Now, in the first chapter, we have already done what a solid is, what are crystals, what are amorphous substances, and how all of these, the constituent particles, they are arranged. The next topic, what we are going to start today, is the second chapter, solutions. This chapter has a lot of numericals, and in your boards and also your competitions, these numericals, they are going to come. So you have to be very particular that please remember all the formulae. There are a lot of formulae which we are going to do in this chapter. So you have to remember all the formulae in this chapter and try and solve as many numericals as you can. So let's go on to this chapter. Whenever the word solution comes into our mind, basically what a solution is. A solution is a homogeneous mixture. So we are saying that a solution is a homogeneous mixture. Homogeneous mixture means what? That in which only one phase can be seen, which means that the components of the solution cannot be seen separately, number one, and number two, we cannot separate them by certain physical means as filtration and sublimation, and also sedimentation. Sublimation still we can, a few of them, but sedimentation cannot be done for solutions, right? So it is a homogeneous mixture which cannot be separated by filtration, sedimentation or distillation, right? When we are talking of solutions, we can have two components. So if in a solution, two components are present, if in a solution, two components are present, the solution is known as binary solution. If two components are present, solution is known as binary solution. For example, we can take sugar plus water, right? Then if three components are present, the solution is known as ternary solution. Okay, the solution that is known as ternary solution. So if to the above solution we are adding salt also, so we have three components: salt, sugar and water. A solution having more than three, like if a solution is having four components, then that is known as quaternary solution. Okay, but in this chapter, for simplicity, we are only going to restrict ourselves to बाइनरी सॉल्यूशंस. पूरे चैप्टर में हम लोग सिर्फ बाइनरी सॉल्यूशंस को ही पढ़ेंगे, right? Now when we talking of solution, two more things which are important. One, a solution consists of solute and solvent, right? In general, what do we say that what is a solute and a solvent? Any particle which is in aggregation with the solution. या हम लोग बोल सकते हैं कि any particle जो एक similar phase में exist करता है as a solution, उसको हम लोग generally एक solvent कहते हैं. Okay? जैसे for example, if we are taking solution which consists of water as one of the component, तो उसमें water ही हमेशा क्या होगा? That is going to be the solvent. Irrespective of the fact कि वो ज्यादा क्वांटिटी में है या वो कम क्वांटिटी में है, बट इन जनरल जो हम लोग पढ़ते हैं वो यही पढ़ते हैं कि सॉल्यूट इज दैट कंपोनेंट solute is that component which is always present in lesser quantity. ठीक है? और solvent क्या होगा? Solvent is that component which is present in larger quantity. But exception हमने क्या किया? जैसे for example, अगर हम लोग एक concentrated solution लेते हैं of sugar plus water, this is a concentrated solution जिसमें 60% is sugar but 40% is water. ठीक है? 60% शुगर है और 40% वाटर है, तो जो ऊपर डेफिनेशन हमने लिखी है कि the solute is always in a lesser quantity, then according to that the solute over here should be water. But this does not happen. Why? Because water is in the same phase as that of the solution. It is an aggregation with the solution. So यहाँ पे हम बोलते हैं कि solvent is in a lesser quantity. This is going to be the solvent and this is going to be the solute. ठीक है? So यहाँ पे solvent is in lesser quantity and solute is in greater quantity. So this is forming a concentrated solution. Then depending upon the type of solvent which we are taking and the type of solute which we are taking, we classify the solutions into the following types. So we are classifying the solutions into the following types. Types of solution depending upon the kind of the solute and the solvent. So we have the first one, let's say we are taking solute and solvent and also discussing an example with it. Okay? In the first case, the solute which we are going to take is the gas. The solvent is also the gas. An example which we can take over here is air. Air is a mixture of gases. Right? फिर second हम लोग solute same रखते हैं, that is the gas. Solvent change कर देते हैं liquid. So यहाँ पे solute gas है और solvent liquid है. Example जो हम ले सकते हैं aerated drinks जिसमें carbon dioxide is dissolved in water, right? Aerated drinks example हम इसमें ले सकते हैं. Then in third case we are keeping the solute same, solvent change कर रहे हैं to solid और example जो यहाँ पे होगा that is hydrogen in palladium. This is generally used as a catalyst for many reactions. So hydrogen is a gas and palladium is a solid. So hydrogen in palladium is an example. Fourth, now हमको solute भी change करना है. We are changing the solute to liquid and we are also changing the solvent to liquid. Liquid and liquid, example which we can take over here is alcohol plus water. We can also take another example. बेंजीन प्लस क्लोरीन. ठीक है? फिर उसके बाद नेक्स्ट वी आर गोइंग टू चेंज द solute to solid but solvent हम सेम रखते हैं. So solvent in this case that is a solid and liquid is the solute. Example which we can take is mercury, zinc zinc amalgam is an example. Then next we come to number 6. 6 is we are taking the solute as solid and the solvent as liquid. एग्जाम्पल इसमें बहुत सारे कॉमन, जैसे फॉर एग्जाम्पल sugar plus water, and we can also take salt plus water, right? और फिर उसके बाद लास्ट हम लोग जो सॉल्यूट ले रहे हैं that is a solid plus solvent भी जो ले रहे हैं that is also a solid. और एग्जाम्पल जो हम यहाँ पे ले सकते हैं that is alloys, right? So these are the type of solutions in this chapter. जो सबसे common solutions हम लोग पढ़ने वाले हैं that is gas and liquid, ये एक important है. सेकेंड हम इस चैप्टर में पढ़ेंगे लिक्विड इन लिक्विड, और थर्ड जो हम पढ़ेंगे दैट इज सॉलिड इन लिक्विड. सो इस पूरे चैप्टर में इन तीनों सॉल्यूशंस के ऊपर हम कंसंट्रेट करेंगे. जब भी कोई सॉल्यूशन हम लेते हैं तो अमाउंट ऑफ सॉल्यूट जो है वो फिक्स्ड रहता है. जैसे वी जस्ट सेड कि अगर अमाउंट ऑफ सॉल्यूट ज्यादा होगा तो सॉल्यूशन इज नोन एज कंसंट्रेटेड सॉल्यूशन, और अगर अमाउंट ऑफ सॉल्वेंट ज्यादा होगा और सॉल्यूट कम होगा तो then the solution is known as dilute solution. How much of any solvent is present in a particular kind of or a particular amount of the solvent, वो उसकी concentration को define करता है. So there are various methods जिससे हम लोग concentration of a solution express कर सकते हैं. These formulae are very important from your examination point of view. 11th में आपने ये वाला topic किया हुआ है, so we are just going to repeat it once again, right? So we are going to do methods of expressing concentration. Methods of expressing concentration. The first method that is known as mass percentage method. Mass percentage method. As we just said कि हमने इस चैप्टर में बाइनरी सॉल्यूशन को ही अंडरस्टैंड करना है फॉर सिंप्लिसिटी. सो हम एक बाइनरी सॉल्यूशन ले रहे हैं जिसमें सॉल्वेंट इज A and the solute is B. So इस entire chapter में you have to remember कि solvent A है और solute B है. In this case अगर हम weight ले लें solvent का as WA और weight ले लें solute का as WB, then mass percentage of A that is going to be equal to what? Weight of A upon total weight, that is weight of the solute plus weight of the solvent into 100 into 100. So this is the mass percentage of A, right? और अगर हमको mass percentage of B कैलकुलेट करना है तो हम लेंगे weight of A upon total weight into 100, right? So this is mass of the solute, sorry, weight of B. Mass percentage of B that will be equal to of the solute will be equal to mass of the solute upon total weight of the solution into 100, that is mass percentage, right? Second जो हम इस पे डिस्कस करते हैं that is volume percentage. Again हम components ले रहे हैं दो. Let's say VA is the volume of A and VB is the volume of B. So what is going to be volume percentage of A? That is going to be volume of A upon total volume into 100. ठीक है. और उसी तरह से परसेंटेज ऑफ बी भी कैलकुलेट की जा सकती है. Volume of B upon total volume of the solution into 100. Now अगर एक का हमें मास दिया है और दूसरे की हमें वॉल्यूम दी है तो परसेंट मास बाय वॉल्यूम भी हम कैलकुलेट कर सकते हैं. Percent mass by volume. In this case, what we have to take? We have to take the weight of the solute. Weight of the solute upon volume of the solution. Volume of the solution into 100. ठीक है. So this is percent mass by volume. फिर उसके बाद हमारे पास आता है parts per million. It is also known as ppm, parts per million. ये वाला जो मेथड है ये जनरली यूज किया जाता है टू कैलकुलेट द अमाउंट ऑफ पॉल्यूटेंट्स इन द एटमॉस्फेयर. जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल सल्फर डाइऑक्साइड हम लेते हैं तो दैट इज प्रेजेंट इन अ वेरी लेसर क्वांटिटी इन द एटमॉस्फेयर. इसलिए हम पार्ट्स पर मिलियन उसको कैलकुलेट करते हैं. सो अगर आपको कोई भी पार्ट्स पर मिलियन किसी भी एक सॉल्यूट का कैलकुलेट करना है सो दैट विल बी इक्वल टू व्हाट? दैट इज इक्वल टू weight of the solute upon total weight of the solution. जो भी solution है into 10 raised to power 6. So 10 raised to power 6 is going to make 1 million, right? For example, if we are saying that 10 ppm of sulfur dioxide in air is present, it means that if 10 ppm of sulfur dioxide is present, it means that 10 milliliter of sulfur dioxide is present in 1 million of air. 10 raised to power 6 parts of or 10 raised to power 6 ml of air, right? So we're saying that sulfur dioxide जो है that is present as 10 ppm तो वो हो जाएगा 10 milliliter of sulfur dioxide is present in 10 raised to power 6 ml of air. Okay. The next which is very important with respect to this chapter that is the mole fraction. So next is mole fraction. Mole fraction is represented by small x. If we are taking a binary solution AB, let's say the mole fraction of A is XA, mole fraction of B is XB, then the mole fraction of A that is equal to number of moles of A upon total number of moles. In a similar manner, XB that will be equal to number of moles of B upon total number of moles, and total mole fraction of any solution, that is going to be always equal to 1, right? Mole fraction is a unitless quantity. It does not have any units, and it is independent of temperature. That is, mole fraction of any solution will not change अगर हम लोग टेम्परेचर को ऑल्टर कर रहे हैं. इसको हम थोड़ा सा और इलैबोरेट कर लेते हैं. अगर हम XA कर रहे हैं तो हमें पता है कि NA क्या है. NA that is equal to weight of A upon molar mass of A. So इसे हम इस तरह से भी लिख सकते हैं. Similarly, इसको भी हम इसी तरह से लिख सकते हैं in terms of weight and molar masses. Upon molar mass of B. So this expression can also be given जहाँ पे Na is equal to Wa upon Ma, Nb is equal to Wb upon Mb. So mole fraction of A will become equal to weight of A upon molar mass of A upon weight of A upon molar mass of A plus weight of B into upon molar mass of B. And in a similar manner, Xp can also be written, right? Then the next what we are going to do, that is molality. मोलालिटी को हम लोग रिप्रेजेंट करते हैं बाय स्मॉल m, राइट? सो मोलालिटी बेसिकली क्या है? दैट इज इट कैन बी डिफाइंड एज नंबर ऑफ मोल्स ऑफ द सोल्यूट पर kg of the solvent. So if we are taking A as the solvent, per kg of the solvent. In case weight is given in grams, so we multiply over here by 1000. Number of moles of B into 1000 upon weight of solvent in grams. अब इसको हम लोग लिख सकते हैं as into 1000. So molality can also be written in this expression, right? Now, if we are going to take a relationship between mole fraction and molality, we are taking a relation between mole fraction and molality. The relationship which we have over here, that is Xb into 1000 upon 1 minus Xb if Xa is not given to you into Ma, that is equal to molality, where Xb is the mole fraction of the solute and Ma is the molar mass of the solvent, right? Clear हो गया? Over here Xb is the mole fraction of the solute and Ma is the molar mass of the solvent. So this is how, if mole fraction is given to you, you can calculate molality directly, or vice versa. If molality is given to you, you can calculate the mole fraction of the solute and hence that of the solvent, right? So this is the relationship between X and M. Now if we are looking at the units, of molality, then the units of molality that is going to be equal to what? It is going to be moles per kg. Moles per kg. And molarity is also independent of temperature. Clear? So this is molarity. It does not depend upon temperature as it does not depend upon volume. Okay? Anything which is going to depend upon volume, that is going to change with temperature. So mole fraction भी आप देख रहे हो कि it is not depending upon volume. Molarity भी आप देख रहे हो, it is not depending upon volume. Therefore, both of them they are not altering with temperature. Then next we come to molarity. What is molarity? मोलारिटी को हम लोग कैपिटल M के साथ डिनोट करते हैं, राइट? मोलारिटी को हम कैपिटल M के साथ डिनोट करते हैं एंड मैथमेटिकली इट इज डिफाइंड एज नंबर ऑफ moles of the solute dissolved per liter of the solution. वहां पे हमने मोलारिटी में weight of the solvent दिया था, यहाँ पे हम volume of the solution ले रहे हैं, ठीक है? So volume of the solution in liters, और अगर volume मिलीलीटर्स में दिया है तो हम 1000 के साथ ऊपर मल्टीप्लाई कर लेते हैं. We know that the NB is equal to WB upon MB into volume, right? So this is what molarity is. Now when if in case the density of the solution is given to us, तो हम लोग molarity के लिए एक और मेथड कैलकुलेट करते हैं. Let's say D that is equal to density of solution D is equal to density of solution and X percentage of the solute is given. So X percent solute by mass is given to you in the question. So alternatively what we are going to do, हम molarity यहाँ से calculate करेंगे. The formula which you have to use is X into D into 10, where X is the solute by mass percent, D is the density into 10 upon molar mass of the solute. Okay? So in this manner also we can calculate density. Units if we are taking, the units are going to be moles per liter and molarity depends upon temperature. Why is it depending upon temperature? It is depending upon temperature because it depends upon the volume. Therefore, it is depending upon temperature. Have you understood? So we have molarity is equal to weight of the solute upon molar mass of the solute into 1000 upon volume, or it is molarity is equal to X into D into 10, where X is the percentage of solute by mass, D is the density of the solution into 10 upon molar mass of the solute. Now if we are mixing two different solutions, so in that case we have an equation which is known as the molarity equation. It is also known as molarity of dilution. Okay, so we have, let's say we have M1, the molarity of the first solution which is dissolved in or which has a volume V1. M1 V1 that will be equal to M2 V2. where M2 that is the molarity of the second solution. Generally this method is used in titrations which you have done in class 11. So titrations where the molarity equation helps us to calculate the molarity of the second equation or the second solution, right? Now if we mix both of these, then we get molarity of equation. Molarity of equation, or it is also known as molarity of mixing. Right? So if we mix the above two solutions, one in which the molarity is M1 and the other in which the molarity is M2, then in that case we have M3 V1 plus V2. Okay, so over here if we mix solution 1 with solution 2, we can get the molarity of the mixture which is given by this equation, right? This is a common question which comes in your competitions. One formula which you have to remember over here is this, right? We will do questions in the next lecture, and one formula you have to remember over here is this. These two are some important formulae which you need to learn. Okay. Now in the question sometimes there are certain names or nomenclature which is taken which you are not aware of. So let's see what is that. For example, if in the question semimolar, if in the question semimolar is given to you, semimolar means 0.5 molar or m by 2 or 1 by 2 molar. Okay, this is what semimolar is. And then we have decimolar. Decimolar is 0.1 molar or m by 10 molar. 0.1 molar or m by 10 molar, right? Then after decimolar we have centimolar. Centimolar is equal to 0.01 molar or m by 100 molar. This is centimolar, right? And after centimolar we have millimolar. Millimolar is 0.001 molar or m by 1000 molar, right? Then we come to relationship between molarity and molarity. Relationship between molarity and molarity. When we are doing the relationship between molarity and molarity, it is given as 1 by molarity is equal to density upon molarity minus molar mass of the solute upon 1000, right? Where m is the molarity and Mp is the molar mass of the solute. Okay, and then we have relationship between these formulae are very important. Relationship between molarity and mole fraction. relationship between molarity and mole fraction. It is given as molarity that is equal to mole fraction of D, XD, that is the mole fraction of the solute, into 1000 into D upon mole fraction of the solvent into molar mass of the solvent plus okay, so this is the relationship between molarity and mole fraction. Sometimes in the competitions, questions like this are given to you in which you have to take into consideration certain shortcut equations or certain shortcut methods. So these are the formula which I have given to you. For example, one is this, the other one is this, and one which we had done between the molarity and the mole fraction. Another one important thing is if we are doing the molarity of aqueous solutions, so another formula for mole fraction and molarity can be given. For aqueous solutions, one more formula which is given is mole fraction is equal to molarity upon molarity plus 55.5, where 55.5 that is the mole fraction of water, right? But this formula is only going to be true for aqueous solutions, okay? So what all methods did we do? We did mole fraction, we did molality, we did molarity, we did mass percentage, volume percentage and ppm. Then the next method is normality. What is normality? As in molarity we were taking in denominator the molar mass. Over here we are going to take into consideration the equivalent mass. So when we are defining normality, normality is the number of gram equivalents per liter of the solution. Same if we are taking this in milliliter, then we multiply it with 1000. So it is normality is the number of gram equivalents per liter of the solution. This is a new term which has come up over here. So what is number of gram equivalents? Number of gram equivalents क्या होता है? Number of gram equivalents, that is the weight of the solute in grams upon its equivalent weight or equivalent mass, right? Now again let's put down the value of number of gram equivalents, then normality that becomes equal to weight of the solute upon equivalent weight into 1000 into volume, right? Now there are various methods to calculate the equivalent weight. Let's see which of them can be applied. The first one, we are going to calculate the equivalent weight of acid. The equivalent weight of acid, that is equal to molecular weight upon basicity of the acid. What do we understand by basicity? basicity is number of replaceable H positive ions. Number of replaceable H positive ions. For example, if we are taking H2SO4, then the number of replaceable H positive ions, that is equal to 2, and the equivalent weight will be equal to molecular weight of H2SO4 divided by 2. Similarly, if we are taking HCl, basicity is going to be 1. For H3PO4, basicity is going to be 3. For H3PO3, basicity is going to be 2, and for H3PO2, basicity is going to be 1, right? Then second, let's calculate equivalent weight of base, that is equal to molecular weight upon acidity of the base. What is acidity of the base? It is number of replaceable OH negative ions. So if we are taking aluminium hydroxide, then the acidity of this, that is going to be 3. If we are taking barium hydroxide, then it is going to be 2. Right? So this is how we calculate the acidity of a base. Then third, we calculate for a salt. For a salt, equivalent weight is equal to molecular weight upon total positive valency. Molecular weight upon total positive valency. As for example, if we are taking a salt of NaCl, then the total positive valency, that is going to be 1 positive. If we are taking a salt of barium chloride, then the total positive valency, that is going to be 2. So this is how we calculate the equivalent weight of acid, base and salt. But then there are certain other methods. Let's see which one. The fourth is equivalent weight of oxidizing and reducing agents. Oxidizing and reducing agents. For oxidizing and reducing agents, the equivalent weight, that is equal to molecular weight upon number of electron exchange. Why we have written number of electron exchange over here? Because it can be, in case of oxidation, electrons are lost, so it can be number of electrons lost, and in case of reduction, electrons are gained. So number of electrons gained. तो इसलिए हमने यहाँ पे क्या लिखा है? Number of electron exchange. कुछ oxidizing agents, जैसे for example we have K2Cr2O7 potassium dichromate. The number of electron exchange in the redox reaction is 6. This you've done in class 11. So K2Cr2O7 का अगर equivalent weight calculate करना है, तो that is equal to molecular weight upon 6, right? In a similar manner, अगर हम KMnO4 लें, potassium permanganate, तो इसका जो electron exchange है, that depends upon the medium in which the reaction is carried out. जैसे अगर हम acidic medium करते हैं, electrons. But अगर हम न्यूट्रल और बेसिक मीडियम लेते हैं तो इन दैट केस जो इलेक्ट्रॉन एक्सचेंज है that is going to be equal to 3 electrons. So if the reaction is taking place in acidic medium, equivalent weight of KMnO4 will be equal to molecular weight divided by 5. और अगर हम न्यूट्रल मीडियम लेते हैं तो then it will be equal to potassium permanganate divided by 3. Right? So this is how we calculate the equivalent weight for oxidizing and reducing agents. Plus there are a few other methods which you have done in class 11 to calculate the equivalent weight. Let's say which of them we have done. The first one is hydrogen displacement method. The first one is hydrogen displacement method. अब hydrogen displacement method में क्या है कि हम लोग equivalent weight कैसे calculate करेंगे? Equivalent weight by the hydrogen displacement method, that is equal to mass of element upon mass of hydrogen displaced into 1.008. Okay, so this is how we can calculate. Now if the hydrogen is given to us in milliliters, then what do we do? This is what we are going to do over here. Mass of element into 11,200 divided by volume of hydrogen in ml at STP. Okay, so if the volume is given, so volume, in case of volume we take the mass of the element into 11,200 divided by volume of hydrogen displaced at STP, right? Then the second method is oxide formation method. In oxide formation method, what do we have? We are going to take the mass of the element upon mass of oxygen, mass of element upon mass of oxygen into 8.